have been cordially invited to a world of wonder and intrigue, of steam and invention, of magic and mysteries, where nobles wave playbills at scientists who, deep in thought, nearly trip over pixies delivering news to tinkerers beneath the stage of New Europa. Sit back and enjoy the scene as the actors act, the singers sing, and the players play out the adventures of Castle Falkenstein.
Live. Hello, everyone. Hi, happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of Adventures in Castle Falkenstein. I am Simon, Wandering DM. Tonight I'll be playing Oberon, the stuffy English wizard. And with me is an amazing cast of players and an amazing host. We'll go around the table, introduce ourselves. Let's go clockwise this time, so we'll move right away to Jesser.
Hello, my name is Kenny. I am playing Jesser Firit Regurgin, a French actor who has just completed playing the role of Titus Andronicus. Oh, no, wait. I was playing in Titus Andronicus. Sorry. Yes. But the role of Saturninus.
And next to Jesser is the Contessa.
Good evening, all. You know me. I'm at Deirdre Donlan on Twitter, but tonight I am the Contessa Lucrezia Sofia Fioravanti, who's trying very hard to make that very stuffy English wizard not so stuffy. And she's having some success. There's a little bit of success, at least in being entertained by him. And the fabulous Giselle was absolutely fabulous on stage. I just want to put it out there. It was a fabulous performance.
And right up from the Contessa is Isolina.
Hello, I am PP, also known as Isolina Tenes Montiel, who is part of the Lady Detectives with the Contessa. And I am looking forward to seeing all of the mysteries that lie ahead.
And last but not least is our host for tonight, to who I'll give the mic to. Words need more coffee tonight. I'll keep the mug ready. Chris, why don't you take us away?
Thank you, Simon, and thank you everyone who is watching. We are ready for another episode of Adventures in Castle Falkenstein. My name is Chris Geary. I am your host for the evening. Thank you. So, we will begin tonight, as we do most nights, with a recap. Last episode, on Adventures in Castle Falkenstein, our beloved socialites were preparing for opening night at the Grand Teatro del Liceu, where Josser would take the stage as Saturninus in Titus Andronicus. Each of our players began by wrapping up the events of the previous night in their own special way. Oberon was busy studying the unseelie script, distracted and enthralled by it, before heading home to change his attire in advance of escorting the Contessa Fioravanti to the evening show. The Contessa, greeted in the morning by red roses from a mysterious sender, made a quick trip to the hat shop to buy accessories for her attire and matching ones for Oberon while sending a special package home to Mother. Isolina reflected, as she is wont to do, in order to gather additional insights on the numerous people possibly involved in the unfortunate poisoning of Marcos de Salinas. Each suspect she'd dispatched invitations to that morning for the night's performance and reconnected with her parents over a quaint lunch. Josser made connections of their own by bringing a bouquet of spring flowers to their fellow actors at the theater before gearing up for their own performance that evening. At their seats in the theater, each of our players found a single yellow rose. Oberon's studious efforts proved successful as he realized the repeating characters from the secret machine were 0x. Additionally, he noticed a magical glow from beneath the stage, reminiscent of a ley line. The Contessa, while unable to immediately ascertain the identity of her flower bearer, she did succeed in sprucing up her companion Oberon and teaching him the arts of social observation, pointing out the intricacies of human body language and its ability to foretell upcoming behavior. At intermission, she and her fellow detective Isolina made the rounds looking for the invitees they had messaged earlier that day. Bumping into Carolina, one of the invited, they made small talk, which seemed to lead to a genuine exchange of information, possibly spurred on by the mysterious yellow roses each of them possessed. As we finished the episode, Josser stole the show with their performance of Saturninus' monologue from Act 4, Scene 4, of Titus Andronicus. That leaves us with many questions. Questions like, who dispersed the yellow roses? What does 0x mean? Is it a person or a thing? Why did Father Vladimir leave the city so quickly? Was Talbert ever there? Find out more tonight when we rejoin our cast as they continue their performance upon New Europa's stage. But before we draw back the curtain and continue our play, we will consult the fortune deck as we do each session. What do the cards have in store for our players tonight? First, we have the Four of Hearts. What will help them tonight is the balance of emotions, the stability that they have shown throughout each of these episodes. It will be that which they can lean upon. What may hinder them is the Queen of Hearts, she who may woo and try and steal away one of their assets or allies, and who may harm them, the Queen of Spades. Spades is thought, conniving, inquiry. She is an underhanded mistress coming to keep them from their goal. And that, my friends, brings us back to the Grand Teatro del Liceu, where we rewind a little bit to the beginning of the play. Behind the curtains, there's a nervous tension in the air as Josser and their castmates look on and anticipate the beginning of opening night. Josser, tell me, what is it that you were feeling at that moment?
I think Josser is, anxious, like not like worried anxious, but like happy energy anxious, like really like getting themselves hyped up for the starting of the show. And any part of that is like going to one side of the wings or the other and peeking out into the crowd and kind of surveying who all is there. And especially since there are so many invited guests. So
what is Josser's focus then? What keeps them grounded in this moment as they gaze upon the audience filling in? It's a full house. It's packed.
Seeing that it's a full house, they will feel accomplished, and they're just anticipating the curtains going up and the lights going on in the stage and taking their moment. So I think after peeking out into the crowd, they'll go back to the dressing room.
Excellent. And as Josser turns to leave, they notice dotting across the audience a handful, a dozen yellow roses scattered across audience members. And making their way back to the dressing room, they see a single yellow rose at their dressing table.
Josser picks it up and takes a sniff of it, just inhaling the fragrance. And while they're concentrating on the plot of the play that is going to unfold, they are also nervously expectant of the plot that will unfold after the play.
Excellent. The curtains go up, the opening scene begins, and we find ourselves moving through the play as we did last session. The crowd gasps and cheers and smiles. There's laughter at funny lines and awkward lines as they try to stifle a little bit of their discomfort with some of the tragedy's uncomfortable moments. We get to Act 4, Scene 4. Josser is on stage, and the resounding performance given that we all witnessed last week. And as those moments bleed into one another, and the play unfolds, and the curtain falls. Are there any last thoughts before they take their bow with their fellow actors? Anything that they may be seeking in the crowd?
I think Jasser would search for their companions from the previous evening. Even in the bright lights, I know that they wouldn't probably be able to spot them exactly. And then also check that the Marqueses are in their box. Oh, you're muted.
Just before the actors return to the stage, Jasser can peek out. The lights are not directly in their face, and they can see, as they took the correct angle to look across to the box seat of Senor Marquez and his family. You'll notice Ferdinand, Senor Marquez, is there, along with his nephew and his wife. Across as they scan across the auditorium, they'll see in the balcony 2 rows back, a couple pops of yellow, 3 in a row. The Contessa, who is hard to miss, flanked by Oberon and Isolina, as well as a few other pops of yellow, just as they had noticed once before. The actors come out, and you all take your final bow. There are cheers, there are flowers being tossed on stage, and the lights go dark.
After we exit the stage, and we shake off the excitement and the jitters, I'll go up to Lorenzo.
Mm-hmm.
You did an excellent job. You were such a star up there.
Thank you. You definitely gave the crowd something to cheer about. That monologue was quite impressive.
We are an ensemble here. Why don't you come with me and I will introduce you around? It is good to know the people that you are performing for.
Thank you. That would be lovely. And with that, the house lights came up. You can see the ambient light streaking through behind the stage, and you can hear the, dull noise of people talking and movement as they are making their procession toward the front to greet the actors, as is custom at many theaters of this time. Lorenzo would turn to Jasser and say, "Oh, we must be off."
Marie, let's go down and meet the public.
And you'll actually run into Bricks and Swizzle, who both kind of escort you through the shortcut that's created beneath the stage and toward the front. It's a little strange hearing people on both sides of you and above you as you go under, and then on both sides as you come up through one of the walls and exit out front of the building just at the top of the stairs to greet people as they leave. The first one's barely getting through coat check before the cast is assembled.
I will have grabbed several groupings of flowers for both Bricks and Swizzle.
Excellent. The 2 dwarven tinkerers thank you. Bricks a little gruffer than Swizzle. Pretty, very pretty. Appreciate it. And he kind of looks around and like wipes some grease off on his shirt and then takes them from you. Swizzle, on the other hand, a little bit more delicate in their and dexterous in their ways, very nimbly takes them with their fingertips, gives them a gentle sniff and smiles at you as you leave. Out front, the crowd starts to disperse, a number of them, some mingling at the bottom of the stairs, as the three of you, Oberon, the Contessa, and Isolina, make your way toward the street. What do you do?
The Contessa would try and hold Oberon back just to let the full force of the crowd go first.
Mm-hmm.
So that you could see, so you'd come to the top of the stairs and see where everybody is dispersing to. And she'd kind of be linking her other arm with Isolina and acting like, because Isolina is intelligent and wonderful and already knows half of what the Contessa is doing, turning to her and asking, just making polite chit-chat as if to slow them down.
Absolutely. Okay. In fact, I probably, as you're starting to speak to Oberon, I look over and I, with my rolls, I hit him on the arm and I'm like, and was it as funny as you thought it would be, Oberon?
It certainly was a thing. I did not find any parts of it hilarious. I think I was misled.
I did try and warn you that it was a tragedy, darling.
Well, I mean, I thought you were jesting.
As good as the actors were in this play, I will have to admit that the performance on Oberon's face as he watched it was top-notch. Absolutely top-notch reactions.
I mean, it was mildly entertaining. Just a tad. It was a little bit. I did that, but it was not quite as entertaining as Gisère's performance as Saturninus. That was absolutely fabulous. You will agree with me that that they are a fabulous performer.
Absolutely. I've never watched this perform, but I do not think I can see anybody else play. Just noises.
Yes, the Saturninus is a complicated role, and they did a fabulous job with it. The whole complex issues with the political situation and then the romantic situation and their desires. And I'm sorry, I'm getting too into it. I love the theater. The theater is one of my great joys. Attending is.
As it should be. And at this, we're looking around the entire time. I'm sure the Contessa and I have all the important players moved past us at this point.
Yes. You will have noticed the Farraquins, Marquezes, a few of the others that you noticed who are not specially invited earlier, Isolina, have also made their way, as is the way of many noble families. It is important to be seen first.
And with that, I'll say we should certainly go down and tell Gisère what an amazing performance he had.
Oh, yes, of course. They were so fabulous. We should... yes, of course, that will be fabulous. And she's going to try and see who here is of the highest noble rank around.
The highest noble rank here tonight is, again, Senor Marquez.
Ah, okay.
He is not outranked by many in Barcelona,
Okay.
and there are a handful of equals.
So we should definitely go and we should definitely go and greet Giselle and express our wonderful fabulousness. But we have to make a point of stopping and seeing the good Don Fernando with its merely good manners at this point.
Of course. Oh, fuck. Who was it? Enrique that I talked to yesterday? Well, yesterday.
Earlier today.
Earlier today.
Yes.
Yeah, the one you were trying to arrange a marriage for? Yeah, Enrique.
Yep, Enrique. Oh, okay. I did speak with Enrique earlier today. I'm sure it'll be fine to see what his reaction to this was also.
Did you happen to show your discovery to Isolina, Oberon?
No, I thought we were waiting for the... Oh, yes, the play ended. The markings on the pieces of that infernal machine, they bear a letter and a symbol. I think it's a number and a letter, but maybe they make up it's an O and an X. I believe that these are actually a maker's mark.
Oh. And you wanted to see if I recognize them.
Yes.
Do I recognize them?
Actually, you do not. It is not one that you're familiar with from any of the people who have contracted with your parents or any of the other places that you've been.
Well, that sounds ominous.
But you also haven't done a lot with the Fae.
That's very true.
And the script is fairy, so it is possible that the maker, if it is a maker's mark, is also a fairy. You may have better luck speaking with another fairy, maybe a dwarf.
Do I know anybody who works with the Fae?
Well, your father currently is negotiating with the dwarven hold that tripped up in the area recently, and that is the... I have to look up that name again. Has not come up yet. There we go. The Brimming Ground. And so he has some connections there. You also have heard that the Lyceu and a few other theaters employ dwarven tinkerers if they can as they are some of the better tinkerers in all of New Europa.
I will look at the mark and I will shift it around at all different angles to make sure that I don't recognize it in any rotation. And I will pocket it and I will look over it to Oberon and I will say, no, it's not any I recognize, but it does look like somebody who works with the Fae might recognize. I know we have a contract with the dwarves, but it is a bit of a travel to get there. Let's see. I mean, theaters tend to have dwarves working for them. Maybe one of them.
We should ask Giselle.
I could Well, I needed to share my discovery with Giselle anyway.
Of course. And then we can introduce you appropriately to the good Don Fernando.
Absolutely.
Play the game, as it is.
As always.
So, there they are. Let us go let us go see them. Where can I? And she's going to take another look. Is the bar still open?
Lord bless.
No, the bar closed shortly into the second act.
That is sad. That is a sad day. It's okay.
It's
She'll
like,
find a
oh,
drink.
don't worry about it. From under my dress, just takes out like 2 full bottles of wine. Can you imagine?
I mean, she wouldn't turn it down. I bet there's if she had a bigger handbag, it would probably be in the handbag, but she doesn't.
Like takes out full 2 wine bottles and like an entire set of wine glasses. Making the most out of your pockets.
Utility dresses are all the rage in the Montiel house.
It is a very important thing. You don't want to be with them. Let's go see Jesse. Let's go see Jesse.
Was that, Isolina, was that your mother's third invention?
It was, if you count her very first invention of a specialized thing to hit people with, then yes. Yes, it was her third one.
Excellent.
A specialized thing to hit people with, so a baseball bat?
No.
A little bit more advanced. A little bit more. I mean, use your imagination.
A steam-powered baseball bat.
Steam powered. I mean, there were suitors. She was not very happy with any of they kept getting in her way, interrupting her, trying to tell her how to do her job. You can imagine how it went.
I can definitely imagine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's almost as useful. I have to say, it would almost be as useful as like a pitching machine. That would be that would be working. Like when you realize that the pitching machine is basically a miniaturized trebuchet, it makes total sense.
And on that note, you'll notice that the line continues to move, and you've stalled about as long as you can before you start to see that Marquez himself is not getting antsy, but his wife seems to be getting antsy to go home.
All right. Well then, we need to make our greetings to the good Don Fernando, of course. And his good lady wife looks a little...
Ready to leave. She probably didn't get any wine either.
We need to talk to somebody in the administration about that. There should be an open bar
Exactly. Poor taste.
So they'll and then she'll link her arms still on the left-hand side of Oberon and say, Oberon, let me introduce you to the good Don Fernando. He is a wonderful individual.
Okay.
It is always good. You met him. Now let me introduce you. They are not the same thing.
I thought I did introduce myself.
As I said, you met him. Now let me introduce you.
Well, you'll get the hang of it one day, Oberon.
Think of it as if you are being introduced to another member of your lodge of higher rank.
Oh, I see.
So while you may have met him, you have not been introduced.
As you make your way down, you'll need to, of course, get in line and greet whomever in the cast you wish to greet along the way. For Senor Marquez has taken up a post at the end of that cast line, being one of the largest patrons and donors to the Lyceum. He likes to think himself one of the Lyceum.
The Contessa would greet all of the actors and be very effusive with all of them. But the minute she meets Giselle, the minute she comes up to Giselle, she'd reach out and grab their hands and be like, "Oh, Giselle, it was a fabulous performance, absolutely fabulous," and be physically emotive on him, almost to the like walking that fine line of like Auntie Mame in the. You know what I mean?
Super duper familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, just that. It was absolutely fabulous performance. Fabulous as always.
Oh, merci. I really appreciate you coming.
Oh, I would not have missed it for the world. I told Oberon that we had to come. Didn't I tell you, Oberon, that we had to come?
Well, we were invited.
Lord Oberon, it is good to see you again.
Giselle, your performance was astonishing.
Merci beaucoup. Et Mademoiselle Isolina.
Just said it was the best performance I have seen ever in this theater. We are truly honored to have you stationed here in Barcelona for now. Your soliloquy monologue, I don't remember which one it was. Your requiem was amazing. It evokes so much emotion.
You are too kind, too kind. I really appreciate it.
Oh, Jesser, I was talking with Oberon, and we were talking about the fabulous effects on the stage. They were absolutely wonderful. Weren't we talking about this, Oberon? I did say this. It was absolutely fabulous. But I was saying that who do you have to do the effects of this fine theater? It was a fabulous performance. Absolutely stunning.
Everyone who works on this cast and crew are quite amazing, as you have seen, and as you say. But the magicians behind the special effects and all of the stage are these wonderful dwarves, Brix and Swizzle. I'd be happy to introduce you at the opening party if you would care to attend.
Oh, but of course.
You are all invited, of course. And I imagine Jasser would be near the end of the line, probably like as close to Senior Marquez as possible.
That seems about appropriate. So I would say that Senior Marquez is literally just half step away.
So I'll lean over and because I'm sure we've exchanged pleasantries as you know the crowds have come by and everything. And I'll say, if you are so inclined, you too are invited to join our opening party. It would be good to chat with some of the other cast and celebrate with us.
Excellent. I will definitely do so. You'll see that his wife tugs on his arm a little bit as he agrees to such and say, after I take the missus home, I will join the rest of you shortly after that.
Don Fernando, it's so good to see you again. Will you introduce? I've not yet been introduced to your fine lady wife.
Yes. Contessa, Lucrezia Sofia Fioravanti, if I remember correctly.
You always do.
This is my lovely wife, Althea Marquez.
Buongiorno, signora. It is wonderful to finally meet you. Your husband has wonderful things to say about you.
She smiles, says, he is quite the charmer. Only believe half of everything he says, unless it's about business. You should kind of give him a little bit of a look.
Oh, let me introduce you. You, of course, know the dear Signorina Isolina Montiel.
Oh, yes. Isolina, it's so good to see you. It's been a few seasons since I've had the pleasure. Enrique has mentioned a couple of times that he's run into you. So I know that you've been well. How are your parents?
My parents are doing very well, Senora Marquez. Thank you so much for asking. It is so good to see you and in such good health.
Thank you. Barcelona is blessed to have the Montiels here. You have brought new life to the industry of the area. I don't know if we could have actually made inroads with the Brimming Ground without them.
Oh, you gave us too much credit, but thank you very much, Senora Marquez.
And of course, I must introduce you to my very dear friend. This is Lord Oberon Winters. Lord Oberon, this is my other very dear friend, Don Fernando, and his charming, charming wife, Lady Althea.
Don Fernando.
Good to see you again. I assume Barcelona is treating you well.
It is. I've been... Do I say it? Yes. I've been staying with the Contessa for the past couple of days.
Oh, well, that's very hospitable of you, Contessa.
But of course, Lord Oberon was, well, I would hesitate to say that he was staying in a hotel. It was no one I would ever be seen in. But of course, I have the space to share.
Chester kind of leans, gives a look, leans back, greets someone else.
I mean, like, she could play this whole thing with social graces if she wanted.
If you want to boost any of this, feel free to apply whatever skills you feel like are appropriate.
She will boost the social graces,
Okay.
which is a great. And then I'll play a 9. That's
Excellent.
a 19.
Yep. So we have a 9 there, and let me see.
Basically playing off anything that Oberon doesn't do right. Just kind of, I'm going to make this work.
The Lord Marquez will actually compliment your 9 to help save face, seeing it as a valuable interaction. You can kind of pick up on the fact that he's playing along willingly and not needing to be convinced due to your prowess in these situations.
No, wait, it's a good, not a great, so it would be a 17. But
It's still a quality number.
yeah.
And a full success. About that time, you'll hear a slight whisper from behind you. It says, "Oh, I heard about a party." And you'll notice it's Carolina.
Oh, Carolina, you should definitely join us. We are going to be going to the opening night party. Aren't we, Oberon?
We have just been invited, yes.
Good.
You'll see Don Marquez gives her a bit of a look when he notices that she's, there. But quickly kind of glances at the yellow rose that she has, and then across at you all and the yellow roses that you have. All of you will have noticed that he too has a yellow rose boutonniere.
Yeah. Oberon doesn't have a yellow rose boutonniere because the Contessa took it and replaced it with the red rose.
Correct.
That she took it from her hair. But she still has the yellow rose on her. It's just not visible. It's just not. Yes, we are going to become such good friends. And she kind of glances at Don Fernando at that. That of course we must have everyone who will be such good friends attend this party.
Excellent. She'll say, "I will see you soon then." And she will wander off, getting into a carriage that was waiting for her.
Well, then we shouldn't keep everybody waiting, right, Isolina?
Absolutely. We should go off and stop taking up so much of your time. It was so nice to see you, Senora Marquez.
Yes, and we will see you at the party.
Not for me. My husband will probably show up, and likely Enrique here. He needs as much socializing as possible at his age. At which point, Senor Marquez will make a nice exit for everyone, including Enrique, as they head to their own carriage. While the Contessa is having this exchange, is there anything in particular that Jasser or Oberon or Isolina are doing as they witness the social interaction unfolding?
Oberon's taking mental notes of all of the intricacies and trying to make sense of all of it.
Are you gonna try and apply any particular skills to this, or are you just going with your natural observation skills?
I think I'll go with my natural observation skills.
A lot of it seems to be moving kind of quickly. Nothing normally grabs your attention except for Senor Marquez's pocket watch, which seems to be fairly intricate. Chain itself is a woven metal rather than chain link, and you notice that it has exposed gears when he checks it that spin beneath the glass. So that kind of grabs your attention. But you're pretty sure that Enrique got verbally slapped by Senora Marquez. Other than that...
And I think Oberon also felt the slap because he's older than Enrique and would have needed to be socialized maybe a bit more in his early years.
Definitely something that Oberon can empathize with, is what I'm gathering.
Yeah.
So that empathy allows you to kind of pick up on that a little more easily than some of the others. There's an exchange between Carolina and the Contessa that you think is friendly, but you're not sure. And beyond that, it's kind of all a blur. Isolina or Jacer? Who wants to go next?
Yeah, so Jacer would confirm the invitation to Isolina, as they had offered invitations to anyone they spied with yellow roses.
That was going to be my next question.
It would have been very casual, and the attempt to do the offer would be as subtle as possible.
Mm-hmm. Prior to, actually, one of the first people that came out that a yellow rose was in their possession, also of whom you recognized, would have been Smythe, Bernard Smythe, the other Englishman, the portly fellow from the manor house.
Yeah. And yeah, absolutely. As soon as he came through the line, would have talked about, thanking them for their attendance and how lovely the evening was. And wouldn't it be great to extend that and share company with the rest of this cast?
Excellent. He will humbly tell you that he will do his best to fit it into his busy schedule, but he's here just for business on this trip. But he's hoping he can make it, for that was a very kind offer. You pick up on the fact that he's trying to make himself look a little more important than maybe he is.
Okay.
But is not saying no. The Farraquins also came out shortly after the Marquezes and went through the line. They both also had yellow roses.
And again, similar conversation, complimenting them on, their appearance and their taste. And then for this one, I'll actually play charisma.
Okay.
Because they were not really happy by the end of the evening at the mansion, so I wanted to.
Excellent. And that will, Jeanette will become very effusive as you offer this, and thank you for such an invitation. It was a wonderful opening night, and it is not every time that such a private party is extended to just anyone. She will play up the value of it. You don't know if it's a way for her to try and look more important than she is, kind of in a different way than Bernard Smythe had, or if she's just genuinely that kind of nice. You didn't get 100% of a read there the night before, and the last memory that you had of her was when she was really fed up and she just wanted to go home. There had been a murder, they had been kept there, questioned by the police. There was some loud clanging / explosion thingy that happened in the somewhere underneath, and there was just a lot going on, and she was quite overwhelmed. But
I think I would say something like, or just I would say something like, it will not be as unseemly as the previous private party that we were both at.
oh, that is so good. Thank you for your assurances. I look forward to it, and thank you so much for coming to Barcelona. We enjoyed not only your performance, but the artistic prowess of a fellow Frenchman.
Merci beaucoup. You are so welcome, and I really appreciate all that you have brought here.
You'll notice that Lorenz is kind of nodding along. He doesn't seem to be in his element in social situations in general. When she talks about, when you overheard her at the party talking about business and Lorenz being consumed by it, you think that that's his area of strength. And these kinds of things are a necessary duty, but not really where he thrives. Which might be why the rumor, if it's true, that Farrakhan is actually her family name and not his. Throughout the crowd, as it filters through, you'll see a number of the people that were at the party who you had strategized with the rest of the group to send special invitations to the night before. One of which, though, you don't recognize. A younger male, tall but kind of slight of build. He's got a quiet charisma about him, but kind of unsure of himself. And he's thanking people as he goes along. But you can tell that he's kind of trying to hold all of that in. And that would have happened about handful of people before your friends came through.
I think when they approach me, so reserved, but like unconfident, or just like a little bit out of their element?
Your observation is good, correct? And
correct.
Your social graces are
good as well.
Your like sizing up of this person would probably be, because of their age, more that they're a little immature in their social experiences. Not immature as in immature behavior, but they just haven't had a lot of experience.
Okay. I think my approach with this person would be, to downplay the significance of the party. Just present it as an opportunity to meet the cast and to just have a good night.
Excellent. He will thank you and say, I will definitely do that. I appreciate that. Is everyone going to be there?
Some select individuals, people that I know, some patrons of the show and of the lycée. It is going to be a mixed mash of people from Barcelona.
Oh, excellent. You probably, It's probably because of my parents. Then I understand. Thank you so much. And he'll kind of move along.
Who are your parents?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Santi Ramirez. My parents are Martine and Cecilia Ramirez.
Well, it is a pleasure to meet you, and I hope to see you this evening.
Thank you. That's about what you see with the yellow roses as they pass by you.
Okay.
Funnily enough, what I was gonna do was I was gonna look for Santi Ramirez. I was
Okay.
I was gonna go.
You would have noticed that he was a bit ahead of you all in the line, but not by much. With your observation and the fact that you all were perched in a position to try and observe the different players, you would have caught that he was there, but kind of not trying to get lost in the crowd. But as you remember from the previous party, he doesn't really assert his presence, and he kind of gets lost in the crowd.
How old is Santi again?
He's only 17.
Oh, younger than me. Okay. So as I watch him trying to like see if he has a play, and if I notice that it is genuinely he is just like Oberon and it's like a duck out of the water, I will
Yeah, you would know that Santi is just inexperienced. He's been sent abroad, but mostly for studies, excuse me, of sorts.
Okay, so what I want to do as I will watch him as I start not like overtly, but I will just watch him to see to make sure he's not just faking it. And I will approach and I will be like, Santi, it is good to see you out and about.
Oh, Iselina, it's good to see you too. Do you have your yellow rose showing?
Yeah, I'm holding it in one hand, like with my
He'll look at it and he'll look at you and go, so you got one too? Did everybody get one of these? I don't think I saw everyone holding one. Was it part of the show? It was kind of a different show.
It was a very interesting show, I have to say. Have you not read the name of the show?
No, Titus Andronicus is not one that that came across from my tutors.
I want you to know the only name that could come into my mind was Tristan and Isolde, and I'm just like, it's not that one.
No.
That one. That is an intro.
The last Shakespearean play I read was Midsummer's Night.
Oh, a good choice. A very good choice. Yes, this is a little bit more intense of a play. I could see why your studies hadn't hit upon it yet.
Intense is a good word for it. But yes.
Are your parents here or are you here alone, Santi?
No, they had some other obligation, and the invitation that was sent to the house was specifically sent to me. So I figured that it was the Lycéu's opportunity to try and connect with the Ramirezes.
Well, it is good to see you out here. As for the roses, I am not too certain. I've seen some people with them, and they were throwing them at the end of the performance, so it is very curious.
Oh, okay.
You ran out before I was able to fully say hello or goodbye to you. Yes, yesterday, right? Yesterday.
He'll kind of shrink a little bit as you talk about that, and say, "Yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't feeling well."
Oh, I can understand that. It was an intense night last night also.
Yes. very, very different.
Well, I mean, it's not every day you hear about a murder happening in the same place as you.
I hope not. If it is, it's going to be quite overwhelming.
So very, very true. Are you feeling better today?
I think so. Though the play did bring back some uncomfortable memories from the night before, all the death and such. I also don't think I can eat meat pies for a while.
No, I imagine not. Oh, yes. I did hear something curious yesterday, Asanti, and with your young eyes, I was wondering if you could tell me if maybe you saw something like this too. I seem to remember, maybe it was just a shock of last night, but I seem to remember seeing the same person, uh, a woman in two different places almost at once.
A lot of things are a blur. I saw a lot of things that I'm pretty sure aren't like that just can't happen. So
Well, if I've learned anything from last night, is that many things can happen and many things exist that seemed impossible.
yeah, impossible is right. If it was like looking in a mirror without a mirror.
Oh?
Uh, I really need to get going. It was good to see you again.
It is good to see you too also, Santi. Maybe I have been speaking to Enrique lately and about and just being out and socializing a little bit more with others. You are welcome to join us on these nights out on the town, as some might say.
Oh, where to?
Well, tonight we are going to be heading to the after party.
Oh, what? Uh, let's see, the French actor. I think his name is Jassa.
Oh, José, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
they asked me if I could, or if I could make it to that. Something about introducing me to the cast. I figured it was connections to the family, just like the invitation to the play. But it could be fun. I would know someone there, knowing you'll be there.
Absolutely. And you know, Santi, connections to your family also counts you. You're also a Ramirez.
So people remind me.
What does Santi's family do again?
They're a lesser noble house that has a land for a while. You believe, or you would know that it dates back to one of the Spanish Wars, and it was granted as kind of like a knighthood land grant. They currently use it for farming primarily. So they have cattle and different grains that they have the people on their land work.
Well, no, you're more curious as to why Santi was there. Our family names do not have to be our burden, Santi. But that is neither here nor there. You should definitely come. If not as Jacer's guest, at least as my guest.
Okay, I will then. But then I really do need to be home. I'll have to sort things out so I can go out again. I'll see you in a while.
Absolutely. I cannot wait to see you there.
Okay. And that's around the table. Did I miss anything that anyone would have been doing during this time?
I think before we leave, Jasser would have taken the time to introduce Oberon to Bricks and Swizzle, because I don't know if Bricks and Swizzle would actually go to an after party.
You've been there a while now, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they totally would go to an after party.
Okay, never mind
then. You'll also know that if you want a real conversation with Bricks, you'll want to do it early, because he drinks early and often. Swizzle, on the other hand, is a social butterfly and will talk everyone's ear off until they're too tired to continue.
Good point. Okay.
All right, then. So from there, we're going to cut to the opening night party, which is hosted at a nearby hotel in one of their grand ballrooms, as they do for each and every opening night. It's one of the ways that the hotel provides patronage to the Lyceum. That and Jasser would know it's the first place that they stayed when they came here while they were finding more permanent residents for their stay, as they do for a number of the actors while they're transitioning to a more permanent position or a permanent lodging within the city. Does anybody need to do anything in the transition time that we need to know about?
Just change, probably.
Okay.
Something a little bit more appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah. The Contessa would change. The Contessa would say, ask Oberon if he would escort her back to her hotel so that she could change for an evening to be more appropriate. Because a theater dress is not a party dress.
And Oberon? Does Oberon plan on wearing the tux?
I was muted. Oberon would look to the Contessa and ask, do I need to change as well to match your outfit?
Not quite. I might change the way you tie your cravat. An ascot is wonderful for a theatrical performance, but something a little bit more fun, possibly for the after party.
All right.
A bit avant-garde.
Avant-garde? What did you have in mind?
Well, Wellington is always appropriate.
Simon doesn't know what a Wellington knot is.
It's if you picture that the ascot is kind of like flounces out of the pin out that way.
It's cool. You lagged out exactly when you were explaining it, so I still don't know what it is.
I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so if you picture that an ascot flounces outwards,
Yeah.
A Wellington is turned inwards, and the pin goes through and down.
Oh, okay.
It's more. It's less large. It's smaller. It's tighter, like the Duke of Wellington, very military oriented, and it's used usually primarily to show off the stick pin. So less showing off the cravat itself and more showing off the...
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I have a lot of useless knowledge.
I'll wear it like that.
In this game, none of that is useless knowledge.
This is also true. I can't wait until I can bring up the fact that I know which way to butter my bread at dinner.
Josser, as is with many of the forward-facing events that Josser is at, we know that their attire reflects the theater. Bits and pieces from costuming, that sort of thing. It's their way of, I don't know, marketing, as we saw in previous episodes.
Yes.
How is Josser going to show up, though, to the opening night party?
Huh. That is a good question. I think, to be provocative, I think Chaucer would have worn whatever the bloody garment was that they were finally murdered in.
Excellent. And so just the shirt with
Yeah.
regular pants.
Yeah, the chemise, whatever it is, and then whatever like dress pants. It'd be tucked in, and with a fashionable belt of some sort.
Okay.
And stately shoes.
So it's mostly to show off the top from the stage.
Yes.
Excellent. Love it. So we transition now to our opening night party. We're at the ballroom. There is all of the actors, their friends, some with their families. There are other patrons that were invited by people not named Josser. And we set the stage in such a way that you'll find a number of places. There's tables for sitting. You'll notice that there's a head table for the actors to be at, but there's so far everyone seems to be mingling. When you all arrive, you'll notice at the head table that there is a large bouquet of spring mixed flowers and a number of yellow roses stuck in between them. Beyond that, there's copious amounts of alcohol. Not much in the way of food, but there's wine, there's spirits, no champagne. There does seem to be a series of meads. At least one bottle is empty already, and another one is in the hand of Brix, who is sitting on a table that's toward the corner, telling a story to three of the actors that are like seated semicircle in front of him as he's just recounting this time in his past when he was young, and he was still in one of the dwarf holds, and an earthquake happened and everything's shaking, and mostly he's using it as an excuse to drink their drinks as they're not looking. And so he's gesticulating wildly in order to be able to reach out and grab a cup and just throw it back and set it down. All the while not spilling the bottle in his hand. Josser, you would arrive first of this group. Where do you position yourself?
Josser would position themselves in the middle of the room. They would be probably try to be the first person seen.
Excellent.
And I think they would, if Lorenzo didn't have any company with them or anything like that, probably be talking with Lorenzo to get people to pay attention to him.
Lorenzo will have actually brought with him two family members, a cousin who's visiting from Madrid, and his sister. And beyond that, though, like, his sister seems to have wandered off and is socializing with random people. His cousin seems to be sticking around with kind of with him a little more. Unsure of necessarily, who's here, being from a different city. But yeah, so they wouldn't really be they wouldn't really be engaged. So engaging them would be an easy thing to do and a welcome thing to do. In fact, Lorenzo would smile and make conversation as Joser would approach.
Okay. While in conversation, I'm going to use perception to try to notice as people enter the room. Joser was looking for their group of collaborative investigators and Senor Marquez specifically.
Okay.
So,
Marquez does not show immediately.
right.
You would guess that he's taking care of things at home. The next to arrive would likely be, in this case, probably Carolina Morones. She makes her entrance pretty early, and kind of you watch as she kind of circles the room, taking it all in before getting a drink and just inserting herself into a conversation somewhere.
Okay.
She is actively wearing the rose. She's dressed similarly to the way you all saw her in the kitchen with Father Vladimir Korsakov. She's kind of looks like a swashbuckler. She's got the flowing white shirt to which she's pinned the rose like a boutonniere, the leather style pants. Not necessarily tight fitting because that would be difficult to move in, but not loose enough to catch on anything. Boots and a number of pouches off of her bag or off of her belt. She looks prepared to go somewhere at a moment's notice, if that makes sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
Next would be Bernard Smythe would have shown up, and then the Farraquins. Henri, who you saw the night before, attends. Enrique gets there in advance of Senor Marquez. Shortly after is Isolina entering the after party. Isolina, how do you present yourself?
I arrive now wearing a different dress, something of a more rich blue. That covers the shoulders and the arms, wearing some nice gloves with a bracelet that is blue and green on it. Something that the Contessa will have noticed I always wear. Haven't taken that off since you've known me. The boys probably have not noticed. I have some flowers in my hair, braided in, along with one of the yellow rose. And I come in, just as I always come in, with a sense of purpose, and to be noticed and not noticed at the same time.
Excellent. A few people will, acknowledge as you enter. You'll pick up on different things like the bouquet at the head table where a number of the actors are sitting, and it has some yellow roses dotted throughout it. You'll pick up on one Carolina Morones. You'll pick up on Bricks sitting on the table in the corner, telling tales and stealing drinks. The Farraquins, Bernard Smythe, another dwarf whom you haven't met seems to come up alongside Jasser and start talking. Later, you'll find out that that's Swizzle, telling stories and talking just lavishly about the theater. Is there any particular action that Isolina wants to take?
I will just go around and I will, do the pleasantries as always. Starting from the top to the bottom. And, keep an eye out on looking at what Carolina has on and special notes to the pouches. Both in admiration, also a little bit in how they are attached to her belt. Because, it's always nice to know how other people do it. And also what could possibly be inside what she is wearing. And I'll just do that as I say hello to everybody with, niceties and blah, blah, blah. I'll go over to the head actor, or the actor's table, and I will make sure to tell everyone how phenomenal their performance was of Tyrus and Andronicus. And I will finish off on my way to see José and Swizzle.
As you make it to the center of the room where Josser and Lorenzo and Swizzle are engaged in conversation, Swizzle telling funny stories about Bricks and their work under the stage with the different machinery that powers the moving parts of the stage, and some of the quick setting changes that you witnessed and just may have assumed that they had a lot of people doing it. They're like, no, we just flip a lever and our gears start running, and we've got this sound dampening that keeps the engines from reverberating out into the theater. It's really loud for us down there because we have to be next to it, but it doesn't get up from underneath the stage, and boom, we've gone from a castle to a courtyard, from a courtyard to a hill, or whatever it is we need at the time.
Oh, now that sounds very impressive, Master Dwarf.
Wouldn't you think so? I also believe that you may have some interest in some of the mechanical things that we saw last night.
Absolutely. It's so unbelievably interesting, especially from where I come from. Interesting thing my accent did there.
I know, mine has gone somewhere too. I think that I would like to show Monsieur Lorenzo here around a bit. He is from Madrid and is new here in Barcelona.
It is nice to meet you, Senor Lorenz. I hope you find everything well here in Barcelona.
Maybe you could recommend some people for him to meet.
Lorenz?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. How old is Lorenz?
Lorenzo is around the same age as Isolina. maybe a year older, year or two older, but close in age.
I will. So I will definitely be like, oh well, Enrique, obviously, always good fun. And I do have a friend, Santi Ramirez, coming in, who is always looking for new people to meet. And also, Lawrence isn't with anybody, right? He's single.
Correct.
And I always do have fun introducing people. I am sure later I can meet up with you and Enrique and Santi and introduce you to some more interesting people who will be here.
You have just reminded me, Enrique Marquez. He is the nephew of Senior Marquez.
Yes, he is the same one.
Lorenzo, let me go introduce you. Senior Marquez is quite the patron of our theater. You may know. It would be good for you to maybe make a friend of Enrique.
About that time, in walks the Contessa and Oberon. But before we continue with their introduction to the party, we're going to take our first break, or our midway break. We have one break. So we're going to take about an 8 to 10 minute intermission. Please stick around, refresh yourself, whatever you need to settle in for the rest of the evening.
All right, everyone, we'll be right back. And we are back.
I want to mention to you guys that this song that's happening in the background of Roll20
Mhm.
is giving me like knockoff Jurassic Park theme vibes. It does the same
How
thing.
come it's not?
Ba-da-da-ba, ba-da-da-ba.
Well, it's about time we change that up anyway, because we're getting a little livelier. So we will start by switching up the music.
Oh, my Roll20 must be broken.
I hear it. It sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
No, definitely my Roll20 is broken.
Uh-oh.
Did you mute the tab on accident?
No, it's not muted. No, because normally people would hear the music.
Oh, yep.
Hi, welcome to Tech Issues, everyone. I'll try to figure that out while at worst, Chris, you can do me last and
Okay.
go around the table with
So-
everybody else.
We'll start with the Contessa, making her entrance with Lord Oberon.
Mm-hmm. And she makes an entrance anywhere she goes. She always wants to make an entrance, and she is changed into a black and red brocade jacquard dress with black and very dark red beading off the shoulder collar that comes down to a very nice point. Just the shy of risque, but not. Very long gloves and a large. Again, the only thing that isn't black and red on this is the diamond necklace that she is wearing, and she also has the bronze engraved hairpin with her hair swept up, and she's put one of the red roses from her wonderful bouquet of 24 that she still doesn't know who decided that she deserved, but she will appreciate nonetheless because she deserves red roses. And she is made sure that as they're coming in, she's smiling and waving and just being as charismatic as possible in the room. But again, making sure that she's matching her pace so that her effortless pace matches Oberon's so it doesn't look like he needs the cane.
Excellent. As the two of you make your entrance, you'll notice similar things to what both Iselina and Jasser have gotten to at this point. The bouquet at the head table, where many of the actors are, Jasser, and Lorenzo, which you would have recognized as the actor playing Titus Andronicus. With them, there are a number of people, including one of the stagehands. There's another one of the stagehands on the table in the corner, wildly gesticulating, and as they seem to be telling stories, but you're not sure exactly what it is they're doing. You'll pick up on Carolina Morones, who's not really trying to blend in any way. Let's see, who else is there? Bernard Smythe, Enrique, Henri, Santi, the Farraquins. And behind you comes in Lord Marquez.
Ah, of course. So we've got a bunch of people socializing. There's going to be alcohol. There's not really any food, but there are nibbles. Is there band?
There is a string quartet that's playing, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Or a quintet, I'm sorry.
As she notices Don Fernando coming up behind her, she will turn slightly to Don Fernando and say, "You are going to save me a waltz this evening, correct?"
Oh, of course. Right after I greet the actors again.
as is
Of course.
custom.
Well, of course. I wanted to make sure I just got my name on there first. Come on, Oberon, I think I know exactly who to introduce you to. And she's going to lead him up to Isolina and Swizzle. Because
Giselle is there as well. Giselle
I
and
thought-
Lorenzo. They're all in the
Oh,
same.
they're still there? Okay. Lead them up to there. I think that you will quite enjoy this gentleman, Oberon. He might speak your language, or be able to teach you a little bit of the language you were trying to read in that book.
Oh. Yes, well.
Books. Books are for people that can't do.
That'd be Swizzle.
That'd be Swizzle.
I like him already.
Signore, let me introduce you to my very near-dear friend. This is Lord Oberon Winters. He thinks like you.
Yeah. That's why you're having trouble with a book? It doesn't do anything, does it?
No, I'm afraid that the book doesn't do much. Excuse me just a moment. And I'll turn to the Contessa and I'll ask, Contessa, who should I mention the...
Well, if you wish to know how to read something that's in a language you do not speak, you ask the people that might speak that language.
I know. I meant the piece.
Well, of course you do, because otherwise, how would a great engineer as this charming gentleman who's sitting right here next to us... or standing right here next to us, sorry. You always need to... If you want information, you talk to an expert.
That's true.
But me... And...
Excuse me, and I'll turn to Swizzle. What was your name again?
You can call me Swizzle.
Swizzle, would you care for a drink?
I don't drink. Brix does that.
And I lean in and say, it is a little bit late into the evening, but if you want anything coherent out of that one, Breck, you may want to go and talk to him now.
Oh, yeah. Here shortly. The only thing you'll get out of him are earthquake stories.
No, I'd rather have a coherent conversation with someone.
Swizzle is quite capable, but he may have different information than Breck.
Now I'm intrigued.
It was an interesting evening you missed out on last night.
Mm-hmm. Would you care to come speak with Brick with me? Perhaps the three of us can make sense of the story I'm about to tell you.
Always up for a good story.
Just not about earthquakes.
Well, when you've heard it at least 7 times a day for the last 17 years.
I lean over the Contessa. He is not joking. I go down under the stage and I hear all about earthquakes. Every single time I can actually do a soliloquy here.
I mean, you might want to ask him then if he wishes to experience something else, because earthquakes are very common. But you know where I'm from, they all lead to a volcanic eruption.
We
And those
are
are
Oh,
much
don't get
more
him started
entertaining.
on lava. He'll tell you about the last pedicure he had that was at a place that talked about lava rocks. Yeah, they were molten. Not pretty. And then Swizzle will start walking away with Oberon.
All right.
And she'd turn to Isolina and say, and now we will have somewhere to get the information that we need, and I'm about to go start the dancing. Will you help me with that?
Absolutely. Let us go off.
As the ladies go to fill their dance cards, what does Jasser do?
I think Jasser would stay behind just a bit. I think they would say, Lorenzo, follow Isolina and the Countessa. They will get you quite socialized.
Lorenzo will smile and say, whatever you say, you don't have to tell me twice. And he'll follow after with a little bit more confidence. It may be the fact that he's on his third drink, maybe the fact that he's starting to feel comfortable. Could just be the ravishing beauty of the lady detectives.
And Jasser will turn and look for Senor Marquez.
Senor Marquez is at the head table, just finishing up, about to turn around and catches your eye as he does.
I walk up and I pluck a rose out of the bouquet, a yellow rose, and I turn and say, I assume you got my note?
Indeed.
It was such a lovely bouquet of yellow roses I received in the back. And we had invited so many friends. I figured I would let them know that they were friends.
That was very astute of you. I took note of quite a few in the audience.
There were many in attendance, and so I took the liberty of inviting them tonight. There is a good majority here.
Any of them, how was it that you put it? Not really a friend, a false friend, I believe.
That is yet to be seen. I think that some more conversation needs to be had. You do not have kind words for Carolina, it seems.
Just a long history. She's not a bad person. Just sometimes reckless.
There seems to be quite a bit to get to the bottom of, but I think tonight we celebrate a bit, and maybe some libations will ease the conversation.
Agreed. Now the only important question left is, do we start with wine or brandy?
I always start with wine.
Wine it is.
And Jasser will pour a glass of... which would you prefer?
He'll say, whatever you're offering.
Grab a bottle of the finest red available and pour a glass.
Okay. Most of because it's all comped by the hotel, there's nothing super fancy.
Right.
Because they know everyone's here to get well socially lubricated. So quality is not necessarily of the highest importance. It's not bad. It's just average.
They'll pour themselves a glass as well and offer a toast.
What are we toasting?
To found friends.
Indeed. And hopefully solved mysteries.
And Jasser will take a sip and... Okay.
Oh, he was going to say, we can't have nobles being killed indiscriminately. That would not look good. Even if they were missing for a number of years prior to their untimely demise.
Yesterday, you said for me to keep my eyes open.
Mhm.
Correct. Well, I don't know if it is a coincidence, but I saw a server who was here, and I recognized a brooch. It was red. Looked like a rose.
Then this is of significance?
If I remember correctly, there were several people at the party last night who had the brooch.
Oh, I remember something. Someone mentioned something about that. I've spent most of my day sifting through the coroner's report and, well, trying to eliminate some of the more, I guess, obvious suspects. Young Santu ran, but he's no criminal.
Well, if you have any desire to have more conversations or questions with him, he should be here.
Ah, that's good. There are a couple names that I'd like for you to try and keep an ear out for, if you don't mind.
Anything?
Elena de la Res. She was on the register, but never was seen. Supposedly she checked in, according to the register at the party last night. And then the other one, and I don't know that that name will circulate at the party tonight, but one of the maids, Juana Rivera, she was missing. We're not 100% sure how or why.
At what point in the evening do people remember her not being there?
I've gotten conflicting reports on that. Some say they saw her all night. It wasn't until they woke up the next morning. Some of the staff said that they don't remember the last time they saw her. They just assumed she was there because things had gotten done that were normally her duties. A couple others say that they couldn't find her after the first hour or so. And one of them had mentioned that they saw Juana at the coat check early on, maybe just the first few minutes. And after that, they went to get something and never returned.
That is interesting. I didn't have occasion to go to the coat check, but maybe one of my friends did.
Well, whatever you find out will help us. We've determined, based on that fellow Oberon and the coroner, that it was indeed poisoning. One of our investigators figured out that there was magic afoot of some sort. They couldn't quite determine all of it. And we think we have a lead on the Zeppelin that you mentioned. And we're still pursuing that. But it was spotted by a couple of our agents north, what would that be? Northeast of the city, about 5 miles out, that same night.
Well, those details are good to know, but for me, I don't know what they would do. I will keep my ear out, though, and perhaps initiate a conversation with people that you may want to speak with.
Much appreciated. Any introductions that you can make or directions you can point us in? Your keen observations have been fruitful.
Merci. And with that, Jasser will raise their glass and then scan the crowd for Iselina and the Contessa.
All right. So as you scan the crowd for Iselina and the Contessa, we will shift to Oberon, who has wandered to the corner of the ballroom where one Brix is sitting on a table, gesticulating wildly as he holds a bottle of mead in one hand and deftly scoops up the drinks of people who are listening and basically steals their libations as he tells yet another tale of an earth-shaking experience in the brimming ground and how he was busy working on a steam compressor, and if that would have shook just a millimeter more to the left, there would have been an explosion that would have rivaled the earthquake that was currently undertaking the entire dwarf hold.
You certainly love your earthquake stories. I take it you're very fond of working underground?
Brix will kind of swing around and point his bottle of mead at you. You'll notice it's still corked. Underground, understage, under other places too, but she said I can't tell. I do like working under. And who might you be?
I'm Oberon Winters. I attended the play tonight. I'm a friend of Jasser.
Ah,
And I'm somewhat of a tinkerer myself. Well, not a tinkerer, more of an inventor. And, well, I have an interesting story to tell. And I wanted to tell it to you and Swizzle, my bad. Because it seems like, well, the story's too full. Okay, you're
Okay.
getting off the desk. The story's twofold. Firstly, have you ever worked on a device in a play where you could disappear from one end of the stage and reappear somewhere else almost instantaneously without the use of magic?
Brix will look over at Swizzle and say, 2? Swizzle will nod. 2 productions ago. It was some avant-garde play written by a local Yahoo, and it was a charity thing. We ran it for 4 nights, and they needed to have a setup where we moved the villain, Puff of Smoke, disappears, and then reappears shortly after behind the hero. It took a little bit of running, and we had to make sure that the actor cast for that role wasn't too tall. Last time we did something like that with someone who was too tall, they knocked themselves unconscious, and that wasn't pretty.
And that local person who asked for the play, do you remember their name?
I'm not really that sure. And he kind of waggles the bottle of mead, to which Swizzle just shakes their head and goes, "You've had all kinds to drink. You don't need to extort the man for more to drink."
Oh, but it would be my pleasure to just go and fetch a few bottles.
Now that's what I like to hear. And Bricks at that point will actually turn from you and go right back to where he left off in his story, to the one person that stuck behind or stayed behind after he stopped.
Poor person. I'll get up and go fetch 2 bottles of mead.
Okay. When you return, you'll find that Bricks thanks you and uncorks it with one hand and just starts drinking from the bottle of one of them. So, you wanted to know who wrote the play or who wanted us to do the play?
Who wanted you to do the play? Would it be a certain Mr. Desalinas by any chance?
No.
Okay. Because you see, and that's, to get back to my story, part of... Well, have you heard about what happened to Mr. Desalinas? Gruesome murder.
No. I had a few gruesome murders on stage, but none of them real.
Well, this one was real. Almost taken out of a play, it seems. You had your mysterious villain, disappearing act, and an infernal machine down in the basement.
You'll see him stand up or like sit up a little bit on the table and lean forward, still clutching the bottle of mead in his hand and kind of leaning against it. Go ahead, tell me more.
Picture this. An all-knowing machine, capable of answering any and all questions, albeit in a cryptic way. You ask, and you get your answer.
Did you ask it questions?
Multiple. Had to figure out how the thing worked.
What did it say?
Well, many great things, one of which is it can expose your darkest and best kept secrets.
Oh, that sounds uncomfortable.
Like I said, all-knowing. But there's one thing that eluded me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have the piece on me anymore. So I will draw with my finger on the table the X and the O. And I'll say, I believe this is some sort of unseelie mark. Maybe a maker's mark of some sort. I've been trying to, and I'll turn to Swizzle, I've been trying to decipher the unseelie script using a book. But like you said, books do only go so far.
Wait, do that again. You said an X and an O?
X and an O. Like this. Like if you were, from my point of view, like this.
XO. Well, if you... No? Doesn't really ring a bell. Could be a pirate if you turn it sideways.
Well, I was hoping one of you 2 gentlemen could help me with the unseelie script, if you've ever come across it before.
Swizzle will say, from this saying, so you're sure it's that order?
Or it could be reversed.
0X, not O. Then you'll see Bricks go, no.
What?
It's myth and legend. You see, there's supposedly a fairy lord who they call the Great Duplicator, who got trapped inside of a mirror while gazing upon themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And shortly after, certain people would go to that mirror and ask for powers to do things, And whatever it was that they wanted the power to do, they could make it happen. And it usually had the mark of 0 and X. So 0x. That's short for whatever this fairy, this unseelie creature's name originally was. The full name was stricken from history as far as we know. Nobody speaks of it. 0x shows up, or they'll call the person the Great Duplicator.
And you're sure the Great Duplicator was in a mirror, not another type of contraption?
Yeah. Sucked right into it, according to legend.
So someone could have theoretically come up to the mirror and asked for the power to know everything.
To know everything? Maybe. I don't know. Well, know everything that has happened? Probably. I mean, I'm assuming the fact that they call him the Great Duplicator, that it's only things that exist and not things that haven't come to pass.
And I think that's what the machine was able to do.
Interesting. It would have been fun to take apart.
Oh, I did.
You did?
Yes. Ripped it to pieces, if you will.
Oh, that's a shame.
Well, no one has to be able to use this machine forevermore.
Okay. That's fair.
It was quite a feat to rip it apart.
What'd you use? Wrench? Big one?
Ley lines.
Airlines. You're one of those.
Does his attitude change that much?
He seems concerned. Not shut off, but like worried.
Don't worry, friend. I'm not here to put a spell on either of you.
No, I'm not worried about that part. More about you trying to get me into some sort of contract I can't back out of to make some sort of thing.
Absolutely not. Actually, while I would love for someone to help me with my magnum opus, I would only ask someone willing to help me with it.
Oh, well, that's different. And he'll start drinking again.
I'm not here to force anyone doing anything against their will.
Much appreciated.
Now, if you were to want to help me with my magnum opus, that would be a different thing altogether.
Let's see. Come back after fall season. I'm under contract till then.
Oh. I'll remember that. Thank you. Huh. And I thought it would be harder than that.
Well, I didn't say I'd do it for sure. We can start the negotiations then. It'd be negotiating in bad faith if I wasn't able to do it.
Right, right. And this great duplicator that you've mentioned earlier, are there any books of lore about it? Things that I could find at a library or a specialized bookstore?
You'll hear tisking from behind you. Or not behind you, but to the side of you. Swizzle sighs. Nope. Told you books are not the ones that do things.
Then who would?
When Brick said stricken from history, that means written history.
No.
There's only one place that things like that can live.
And where is that?
In stories.
But I bet no one has ever witnessed the story firsthand.
I'm not a gambling person. But if I was, you'd probably be right. However, people do pass down stories. How do you think Bricks and I heard about it?
Yeah, from someone who had heard about it, from someone who had heard about it, from someone who had heard about it. But if I were to try to find that mirror, I would need to have first or second-hand knowledge of it.
This is true. What do you need the mirror for?
Answers, perhaps.
So you want to make another machine that you just destroyed?
Oh. God, no.
How? What kind of answers then?
Trying to figure out who and why. Who killed Marcos de Salinas? And why were they killed? I believe it all ties down to the machine. Ties back to the machine. Whatever.
Well, you know, a secret's not a secret if it can't hurt you.
True. So, now that I've gotten some of the information I needed, what was that about an earthquake story?
So you see, we're in the brimming ground, and we're working on this steam compression unit, and it's at max capacity when the rumbling begins. You can see the dust clinging to the air as it's coming down at us, and little pebbles tinging off of the copper, and he goes on. And as he's telling it, he starts to gesticulate more and more, and you'll notice as crescendos happen, his hand comes down, your mead bottle disappears, his hand comes back up, and he drinks, and then it's back down again. And you hear about 3 different instances where he's right in the middle of an earthquake, if you stay long enough.
I'll entertain him for a bit.
Okay. From there, we'll move on to the lady detectives and their dance cards. Where do you head first?
Well, first, the Contessa would turn to Isolina and say, "So, how do you want to divide this room?"
I have made plans with Enrique and Santi, who we are still waiting for, and apparently Loren's behind us, to introduce them to as many people as possible, mainly people to make their mothers happy. So how about I take the younger crowds and the eligibles?
I'll deal with the older, who are sometimes more entertaining. I already have a promise for a dance from Don Fernando.
Oh, that should be entertaining.
And I figure at a certain point I can get Oberon out onto the dance floor at just the right moment, possibly a waltz.
Oh, be careful with those shoes.
The shoes are not going to be the problem. The problem is that if I don't time it right with the perfect waltz, he might tip himself over.
Oh, but then you could tip him over.
I think if I time that right, it will be much more useful.
Oh, very true. Very true. I see he is making a friend with the Switzerland visa, God, Bix, and Bricks. There you go. And taking a little bit of meat with him. That should be fun.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that will get us at least some of the written information that we want. He did spend all day working on that book. Should be useful for him to talk to somebody who actually possibly knows a little bit about it.
And hopefully we come out of tonight with at least a little bit more of an idea of what and whom we may be looking for.
Indeed. Indeed.
No, you should definitely come over when Santi comes because he is adorable to watch when he is flustered.
I mean, I made him so flustered the other night. I think it should be just so much fun when I do it again.
Yes.
Also, by the way, if you're going to dance with... Did Honore come?
Yes, Henri is here.
All right. If you're going to dance with Honore, he's not bad. He just watches himself a little bit too much. Has to spend more time concentrating on it.
I will keep that in mind for the perfect time.
Mm-hmm. So, I think I should kick this off with Don Fernando, no?
Absolutely.
Always start with the best and work your way down.
Exactly. And I will go over with the boys and see what trouble we will get into.
Make sure that they get into trouble first.
Always.
As you were plotting, up walks Lorenzo, the actor who played Titus Andronicus. He says, pardon me, senoritas. Jose said that you would be able to point me in the right direction of some proper socializing.
Isolina, I think this is one for you.
Oh, absolutely. Lorenz, we will have a lot of fun together. I would like to come and meet my friend, Enrique.
Okay. And he will head off with Isolina. Who wants to go first?
Okay.
No, you tonight.
So I will take Lorenz over to Enrique, and I'll greet Enrique again. I'll be like, Enrique, it is nice to see you again. This is my newfound friend, Lorenz. You might recognize him from the play.
Oh, yes. So nice to meet you, Lorenzo. You did a fabulous job up there. We are glad to have you. It's different being the primary actor now instead of the understudy, isn't it? Lorenzo will, of course, agree and kind of banter back a little bit.
As they're doing that, I'm going to look around for any eligible ladies around the place.
Okay, there are a number of them. Anything in particular that you're looking for?
I am looking for some with interesting families.
Okay.
And also the ones that I are like I'm friendly with, like I'm friends with.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that would be funny. And people who are closer to people of interest. Like if somebody is standing close to like Oberon and his group, or people closer to Senor Marquez and his entourage, and people closer to Carolina and where she's doing, like people who are close to there, so I can, be there for a reason. Not seem like I'm easy. Though I'm sure Carolina will notice either way, but no need to let other people know.
Yeah. You will note that there is excuse me.
No problem. I'm trying to get 3 guys to some interesting company.
Fair enough. You will note that there is one of the Santiagos, not Maria, who you had seen before the night before, but her cousin Sophia is there. And then also Beatrix Cacon. She is the granddaughter of Lady Margarita Cacon. Maybe a little too young for Enrique and Lorenzo, but about that same age a year older or so than Santi. And a handful of others.
I will definitely hit up the handful of others first.
Okay.
Just introducing them, being like, "Hello, it is nice to meet you, blah blah blah. I would like you to meet my friends Enrique Marquez and Lorenzo, blah blah blah." And just gas them up a lot while keeping an eye out and ears out for everybody. And then I'll ease them in to over to Sophia and be like, "Sophia, how are you? How is your family? How is Senora Santiago?" And blah, 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 blah. And have you met my friend Enrique?
No, I have not. I've heard a bit about you here or there.
He is extremely impressive. I have seen him at work. I didn't even know he was a detective. He's a detective, right?
Yes, he's a detective being groomed to take over for Lord Marquez at the agency.
I didn't even know he was a detective. Quite impressive. And I subtly elbow Enrique.
At which point he'll say, "Oh yes, thank you. I busy. Work does keep me busy. But
I'll have to get this one out here and talking to people. Some lovely people like you, Sophia."
And they'll strike up a conversation. What sorts of things are you wanting to try and pick up on as you move from crowd to crowd? Is there anything in particular you're looking for?
I'm keeping an ear out for any talk about the yellow roses.
Okay.
Anything about I was going to call it the Midnight Society, the
Promethean Society.
Promethean Society, yes.
Okay.
Society. Anything about tinkering, anything like that, which at this point it's just something I always listen about just because of my parents and deals and stuff like that. And I'm also listening for any talk about the party at Salinas's place. I'm keeping an ear out for and the Zeppelin thing, but I guess that falls into tinkering stuff.
Yeah. You won't pick up anything really about tinkering outside of references to the machinations of the stage and the things that Bricks and Swizzle do there. As for the night before, the Lady Farah Quinn and Bernard Smythe both seem to make comments about the ordeal that they endured as kind of ways to draw attention to themselves. Bernard seems to be doing it more as posturing, while Lady Farah Quinn just simply doesn't think to not share the things that she knows. You quickly pick up on the fact that she might be one of the larger gossips in Barcelona, but not because she's actually trying to spread gossip, but simply because she has no filter and she likes to share all the stories that she gathers.
And I think to myself, Oberon would like her.
And so those are the two that are most talkative about that. Henri does a little bit here or there, but he's doing more drinking and sharing with the actors, a little bit of schmoozing there. There's some talk from him about wanting to, once he gets some more business deals done, wanting to patronize the Lyceum a little more substantially than just a ticket here or there. That he didn't pay for his ticket, so that one kind of catches you. As there's a bit of posturing as well from him. let's see, what other kinds of things? The yellow roses, you will notice that it's displayed on everyone that you sent or had your runners send invitations to that morning who has attended this evening. So Lord Marquez, Enrique, basically everyone except for Oberon.
But I did notice that.
Yeah.
And I will, anybody who comes up to me and asks me to dance, I will definitely
Okay.
allow them a dance or two.
Okay. That will not be, that won't be very long before there is a request for that. The first being just random bloke number 3 of the blah 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 family, and the second dance though that you partake in during this kind of intermingling that you're doing is one of the gentlemen that Carolina was talking to. You believe he's a detective. You think you recognize him, but he's not one that you've seen very often. But just from what you overheard, he seems to be one of the detectives that works with Enrique.
Okay, as he, as I accept his proposal to go dance, and we start, doing the dance thing.
Mm-hmm.
I will strike up conversation with. I'm assuming he already told me his name when he asked me to dance, eh?
Indeed. He is... Which one is he? Not that one. He would be... Sebastian del Peralta.
Sebastian de Peralta?
Mm-hmm.
Is it rain?
Peralta. I won't make a 9-9 joke. Okay. And I'll be like, hola. I'll be like, hola, Sebastian. It is nice to meet you.
And as is you, Senorita. Do you come to the theater often?
Not terribly often, but I now have a friend who performs there.
Oh?
Yes. You may know them, Jose.
Oh, yes. They were magnificent.
I did love their performance as Tyrannicus? No.
Titus Andronicus?
His character.
Saturninus.
Why do you guys all have to have the same ending? That's the only part that I remember of names. Saturnitis. Yes, I thought the depiction of Saturnitis was beautiful.
Yes. It was a rousing performance. The entire cast did lovely, but you're right. Jose's portrayal was memorable for sure.
Do you come here often to the theater?
No, only when I am dispatched to accompany Lord Marquez.
So you know Senor Marquez, related or for work?
Professionally.
No, professional. So you are a detective also?
Mm-hmm. And you'll see that he leads while you dance. The pattern that he follows is not a traditional waltz, though. You'll pick up on it that he is keeping a very particular angle on Lord Marquez.
Interesting. Okay, so how long have you been working with Senor Marquez?
This will be my 3rd year.
Oh, wow. And are you from Barcelona or?
A small village outside of Barcelona. I joined the military, and from the military I went to the Civil Guard, and from the Civil Guard I got drafted into um, the agency.
Oh, wow. A military man then.
Mm-hmm.
How are you liking the big city?
It's busy.
Busy. A good busy, bad busy?
I would say a little bit of both. So far, mostly good, but sometimes tiring.
I can see that. What they say? Crime never sleeps.
Yeah, that's for sure. All hours have possibilities in them. Some for good, some for ill.
Absolutely. I did not see you yesterday at the tragic scene at the Salinas estate.
I was not on duty.
Oh, well, you missed an interesting night for sure.
So I am told. Enrique's filled me in, especially since I'm here tonight. But I have not caught wind of any poisoners.
Oh, that is good. I feel much more safe knowing that you are here now, Sebastian. Let's see. And so here's blah 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 blah. Anything I really want out of him. And I will does he have no, he doesn't have a yellow rose.
He does not have a yellow rose.
I'll say, oh, I see you were not you did not come up upon a yellow rose tonight.
No. I've noticed a number of them in the crowd. I wasn't sure if there was a significance. Is there one that I should be aware of?
As of now, not that one that I know. I have noticed some people wearing them, some people not, and several bushes thrown at the stage earlier tonight.
Some sort of ritual on opening night or something?
That'd be a good question. I cannot say I've ever been to an opening night.
Fair enough. Since you knew one of the actors, I thought maybe you had some insights for me.
No, but it would be a good question to ask. Thanks so much for the advice there. Although, how much should one worry, right? A yellow rose, no thorns?
Well, it does not seem like a threat to me.
No, looks like
More
something-
like an identifier. Or a coincidence.
Maybe a little bit of A, a little bit of B. One can only hope they are looking to make friends
Mm-hmm.
and not anything more malicious.
One would hope.
But like I said, I feel much more comfortable knowing that you are here, accompanying Senor Marquez and Enrique.
I appreciate your confidence in me.
And as the song winds down and the dance does, I feel like it was a pleasure dancing with you, Sebastian. I will leave you to go back to watch over Senor Marquez.
Thank you very much. You made standing post enjoyable.
Do not be a stranger.
I will not. And he will kind of strut off a little bit with some newfound confidence. Contessa.
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course.
As you are dancing with Lord Marquez, because that was your primary goal, yes?
Yes, she's going to dance with Lord Marquez first.
Mm-hmm. You will note he's busy talking, and so it takes a little while to pull him away. And when you do, you will notice Isolina is on the dance floor as well. Is there anything in particular you wish to engage Lord Marquez in the way of conversation?
So how goes your charming evening after the complications of the night before, Signore.
It's a welcome respite from an otherwise grueling investigation. Lots of unknowns, lots of dead ends, lots of mystery.
Lots of people being where they weren't supposed to be, and lots of people being where they, well, should be, but they are not.
That's one way to put it. Also a lot of crumbs, but not really a trail.
No trails. It's like somebody ate the pie and the same in the room and didn't left a mess for the maid to clean up.
Yet, would have been nicer if they left something to follow.
But sometimes you don't need the crumbs to train to follow. You just need to know to find the crumbs to find the pie.
I don't know that I follow.
Oh, you've never done this before, Signore? Come across your charming younger brother after he ate everything, all the cookies in the cookie jar, and you can't figure out exactly what he ate, but you know exactly what crumbs are left behind. You can put them together to find out what cookie he ate. And then decide that he's sitting in the corner being very, very ill because he sat and ate all the cookies in the cookie jar.
This is true. If what we are to believe is accurate, it was a blackmail scheme.
A very poorly done one, though.
Yeah. Not as much finesse as one would like to believe.
Well, when a gentleman is that blatant in his ability to blackmail, his odds of getting dead are much higher. Are they not?
This is true.
But I have a question for you, Signore.
Yes.
What about a simple blackmailer would draw the attention of the Promethean Society?
I imagine that their interest would have been similar to others of their ilk.
Yes.
It's not about the blackmail. It's about the secrets.
But then that leads to the question. Do they desire to protect the secret or to uncover others?
That you cannot know unless you witness what they do with their knowledge.
This is true. I can tell you that unfortunately the only charming gentleman who spoke to us last night was Father Korsakov.
Ah, yes, the priest.
Very charming priest.
That's one way to put it.
He was much more charming than Signore Talbot.
You saw Talbot?
No, and that was part of the problem.
Go on.
Well, when a gentleman makes his presence known, when a gentleman enters my presence, they usually attempt to make their presence known. They don't usually try to hide themselves and run away.
That doesn't sound like Talbot at all.
Yes. Well, let's put it this way. When the gentleman is busy focused on other things, and so focused on those other things that he decides to remove 25 minutes from everybody.
That too sounds strange.
Does it not?
Think you may have met an imposter.
Well, the gentleman left a card. And Signore Korsakov Monsignore Korsakov was very firm in who it was. Unless, of course, Monsignore Korsakov was an imposter.
No, I'd recognize that. Very, very strange man anywhere I went. You might be able to look like him, but you can't pull off that.
Precision?
Yeah. He's kind of like he's cold like stone and yet not.
He was perfectly... I mean, admittedly, I spent a lot of time and I've met a lot of priests. He's kind of like half the priests that I have met.
Then you've met a lot different priests than I have. Most of the ones I meet want to talk to me about religion.
Art. No. That's the secondary. The primary is the ones who the whole talking to you about the religion. That's over here. They'll all do that at some point. No. He's like all of the priests that I meet who spend more time focused on looking at my face.
Oh. Well, I guess there's that.
Like every priest. Like half the priests I've met.
Interesting.
Oh. But I do have to say, Don Fernando, it'll be very entertaining to see what happens. It'll also be very entertaining to see who attempts to continue this little blackmail scheme.
It'll be interesting to see if anyone does. We only found bits and pieces of some sort of machine in the basement.
Machine is a machine. The information that was already existing. And who managed to appropriate that?
That is true. With the number of parties that he had, we estimate that there was easily 437 people that had attended at some point in time or another.
And that's merely counting the parties and not anything that he had dealt with as a business meeting.
This is true.
So you have 437 people with stories and secrets that they don't want to know about. Which is really sad, because some of those secrets are not very secret at all.
Sometimes it's less about whether it's known and more about whether it's admittedly known.
Also true. You know, Don Fernando, I don't mean to say this out of turn, but I will say that it was very shocking, and if you hadn't introduced us to Signorina Carolina beforehand, you gave off the impression she was your daughter.
Oh. No. If Carolina was my daughter, Althea would have probably had a stroke.
I didn't say that she seemed like your wife's daughter.
Oh. Now there you go. Those are fancy stories. Unfortunately, I am nowhere near that interesting. However,
Oh, I never said that was true.
a good rumor always does make for more invitations to interesting places.
Particularly a good rumor that, might cause the attention of someone who desired to blackmail good standing lord of the city of Barcelona.
Hmm. Yeah. They could try.
They could definitely try.
I think one of the things that you'll notice if you find out more about who was invited, no one of any real power was ever brought into that house.
Also very obvious. He didn't even try to invite me until the very last night.
Hmm. And you are not from here. So, while I don't know anything about your holdings or your reach, it's not based in Barcelona. If you were to have made a misstep with you, it would not have been the same as doing so with maybe one of Lady Cocone's family members.
Also true.
That would have ended him much more quickly than the way he went, and much more publicly.
Also true. I figure at some point someone was going to end him. Unfortunately, it wasn't me.
No. I figured out pretty early it wasn't you. Regardless of the rumors about your late husband, and there are many of different kinds, you don't strike me as the type.
No, and I can honestly say I did not kill my late husband.
Mm-hmm.
He died in Rome, and I was in Sicilia at the time. Very publicly, and was very upsetting. Unfortunately, my late husband's brother seems to have some problems with that fact. But, 5 generations of family feuds. What can you do?
Family politics are more difficult than international politics most of the time.
I find them to be one and the same. Just the family gets bigger.
That is a reach that I did not expect. But an interesting turn of events.
What? The fact that I enjoy your company, Don Fernando. Although...
No. Not that you enjoy my company. That, I assumed was genuine. However, more the international connection that you shared was not something I expected.
I travel. It's fun.
Indeed.
But apparently my English gentle wizard is about time for him to teach him to dance.
And I'm sure Sebastian is afraid I'm going to trip over something and hit my head, so I should probably check in with him.
I mean, he's a little stuffy.
But he means well.
Is he always that obvious when he's trying to be your protection?
What I like about him, strategically speaking.
Not bad. He's going to miss a girl, by the way.
Yeah. Going on 3 years. That's pretty much the same story.
It'll be good. Eventually.
Eventually. I appreciate the dance, Contessa. And if there's anything else that I can do for you while you stay in the fair city of Barcelona, please feel free to leave a message with my secretary.
I will happily leave a message with your secretary. I'll even be nice about it.
Don't do that. You might ruin your reputation.
I don't see how. Because I'm about to make a very interesting comment with the good Lord Oberon over there, and my reputation will be secured.
Fair enough. What kinds of things were you looking, would you be observing for while you're dancing?
Just to see how everybody is moving across the room. Who's grouping with everybody else. She's gotten what she wants out of Don Fernando. But she wants to see who is avoiding, well, other than Santi, who is avoiding social interaction and who is actively avoiding others who are wearing yellow roses.
The least social of people is probably Bricks because he sequestered himself in the corner and got sloppy drunk pretty quickly. By the time that you finish dancing and you go to retrieve Oberon from the earthquake stories, Bricks is, a drink and a half away from passing out. Otherwise, you'll find most people are here just for the revelry. There doesn't seem to be anyone that's avoiding the yellow roses. Most of them may not even notice what it means. You do notice that Carolina seems to be watching those with yellow roses, looking for some sort of pattern.
She's watching rather than participating.
Well, she does it from groups of people with whom she is drinking and having small talk with. Much the same way that you or Iselina might.
Yeah.
Is there, outside of that, in the social venue, that's about it.
Does anyone take notice of the pin in her hair?
No.
Cool.
It could be because of the size of it, and it's not that easy to notice from while moving. Or it just might be that very few people would notice it. Or it's also possible that those who did noticed it while your back was turned. Not because it's facing backwards, but you were moving quickly, so the recollection hit them as you spun, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So, there is always that possibility, because you're moving, that you miss that micro expression.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that makes sense. And then she'd go and retrieve Lord Oberon.
Okay.
And she's going to do it slightly risquely publicly. In that, walking that very fine line of literally walking up to him and linking her arm through his and saying, well, it is time for us to waltz, signore.
Oh. Yes.
All right. At that point, before you respond there, Simon, if I may interject, is there anything that you would have been watching, or were you actually focused on the earthquake stories during that final exchange?
I think I would have been genuinely interested in the first earthquake story.
Okay.
Just to entertain him. And then I would like to keep an eye out on Santi.
Who has not arrived again.
And then Carolina.
Okay. Is there anything in particular that you're looking for, or any skills that you want to employ for something of that nature?
Yes. Actually, I'd be trying to find out if she does anything out of the ordinary. So I think just to keep a general lookout on her demeanor and see, you know, if she goes to fetch something in one of her pouches or drop something in a drink, something of the sort. So I think, what is it? Awareness? Or perception?
Perception.
So I'd use perception, which is something I am average at.
I believe, yes. Are you going to play any cards with it?
Yes, I'm going to play this card here, which is the King of Diamond.
Excellent. You're going to pick up on the fact that she seems to be doing all the things that you noticed the Contessa and Isolina seem to do. She mingles just enough in order to blend in and look innocuous, and yet she keeps her eyes on other people. She seems to particularly be paying attention to anyone wearing a yellow rose. Beyond that, though, she also does pay attention to you, even though you're not wearing a yellow rose.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Does she see me notice her? Or do I get the feeling that... Yep.
I'm sorry. You believe that she does notice, but doesn't make it obvious.
Okay.
There's just a micro expression of a smirk when she catches your eye.
Hmm. I think I'll smirk back.
Okay.
But that would be it for Oberon.
Okay. And then circling back to Josser. Don Marquez got pulled away for a dance.
I think after Senor Marquez gets pulled away for a dance, Josser would have approached Lady Carolina, as everyone else has been avoiding her.
Mm-hmm.
But that conversation can wait.
Okay. So, one of the things that I'm going to wrap up with is as Josser makes their way across the dance floor, weaving between people and dancers and revelry, to one Carolina Morones, and Isolina and the Contessa are still currently twirling on the dance floor at this point. There is no sign of Santi, but there is a familiar sight that each one of you will catch out of the corner of your eye at one point in time or another. You swear you noticed on a handful of people a ruby red rose brooch. And that will be the conclusion of tonight's episode. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Thank you to the audience for sticking with us for our adventure this evening and our parties. Before we leave for the evening, let's, of course, do outros, and I will go ahead and, I guess, I'll kick it off so Simon can end and close things out. As I said at the beginning, my name is Chris Geary. You can find me at Chris Geary on Twitter. You can also find me here every Friday night hosting Adventures in Castle Falkenstein, and every Sunday night on Soul Bear RPG as Sigilius, the Far Trader, on the Shattered Eye. And I will kick it on over to, we'll go the opposite route to PB.
Hi, I'm PB from PB Plays Inside, in which you can find me over on Twitch, I guess here on Twitch, and over on Twitter. I do variety gaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and occasionally in between. Right now we're going through some Guacamelee and another game that I play. Yep, 100%. And I'm going to be in a few shows coming up in June. One on Saturdays over on Experience Point. So we're here with my friend Kenny. And on Mondays coming up, I don't know if I can say that one. It might be on the show coming up on Mondays, starting June 3rd. I think that's the day, if I'm not getting my dates. On the channel that rhymes with Mayrock, the Mayrock channel. So that's me.
Reverse order, I believe, Deirdre, you'd be next.
Hey y'all, this was so much fun. You know me, I'm at Deirdre Donlan on Twitter or Praxagorth Esmiophoria, as you see me hanging out in the Twitch chat. And we will not be having Go West tomorrow because of fun things that will be happening by ourselves. But I will be on Sunday over on Soul Bear RPG to hang out with the rest of the Shattered fam. And then Monday over on Role Players for the, things that are happening there. Wonderful things that are happening there. But always check my Twitter. I post where I'm going to be. The only other thing I'm going to say is that the Uncaged community, which I am a member of, I wrote an adventure for Volume 1 of the Uncaged Anthology. We are doing our second live charity stream. It's a 12-hour charity stream from 9 a.m. Pacific to 9 p.m. Pacific on May 31st, Friday. We're going to be supporting St. Jude. If you can come hang out over on Non-Toxic Gaming, we'd really appreciate it. If not, see you next week right here.
Hello, I am Kenny. You can find me on Twitter at Punderdrone. I am on the Experience Points Network, where PB is going to be joining us for our Season 2 of Starfinder game. We're going to be doing our first live kickoff to that on Tuesday, which is not our regular day. But this coming Tuesday, we're going to be doing an Ask Me Anything on Twitch at Experience Points on our Twitch channel. And you can find them on Twitter at EQ Points. Ask us any burning question you have about podcasting, about streaming, about recording, about Starfinder, about life. We are here for it.
Cool. Am I muted?
Not
No,
anymore.
I'm not. Okay, I thought I was. Cool. Hey, everyone. Thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for playing. Thanks for hosting. I had lots of fun tonight. And again, those red brooches, I still don't know what they mean, but I'm afraid Santi's dead. So, I'm Simon at wandering_DM on Twitter. This is my channel. We play here from Tuesdays to Saturdays, except for tomorrow specifically. Tomorrow there won't be a stream. You can find me on Sunday with the Shattered fam on Shattered Eye over on Soul Bear RPG. Next Monday on Role Players to continue playing in our D&D campaign in my homebrew setting, Age of Arcana. And then back here next Tuesday for some Dark Matter fun. On that note, before we leave, let's raid our friends over on... let's see who's online. I have nobody online because it's 11 p.m. Eastern on a Friday. So we're not...
Roll boots up.
Huh?
Phantom Roll Boots up.
Phantom Roll Boots up? Then let's raid Phantom Roll Boot. And spread the TTRPG love. It's all in one word, right? Good. And we'll see you next week for some more Castle Falkenstein. Ciao, everyone.